every psychopath is a narcissist, but not every narcissist is a psychopath. I'm just wondering whether you can tease apart how narcissism relates to psychopathy and how that relates to sociopathy, for example.
Well, I mean, first of all, as you know better than I do, that somebody, Muhammad Ali says he's the greatest. The thing is, he was the greatest. And so if you say I'm the most powerful man in the world or powerful woman, and it's true, it's not narcissism. You're just telling the facts. It pisses people off.
Probably got
So
Conor McGregor in that one these days.
Yeah, right. And so, but it has to be not true. And so there are people who would say he's a narcissist, but if you say, is he really the best in this? And if he is, then you're just envious that he's got this. He has no problem. So people throw around narcissism, and half of it seems to be people who don't have the talents, right? And now they're going to mad because you've got the talents, and they're going to tell everybody. Now, this is not politic, right? It may not make you a narcissist or having a personality disorder. You're just telling it like it is. And so you get politicians and CEOs, and people say he's got NPD or he's got psychopathy. No. Is he the wealthiest guy in the world? Yeah. Well, he's not. This is not narcissism. He shouldn't say it, maybe, but it's not a. So there's all that part, right? So if somebody really has the juice, if they have what they're saying, it doesn't count at all. So you can have somebody who's a psychopath who has narcissism, but not all. I don't agree with that because it's not a necessary trait. Narcissism is not a necessary trait of psychopathy, nor is sadism. There's nowhere in there that's sadist. I think many people would assume that psychopaths, they like pulling the wings off of, little animals and birds, and that they're sadistic. And this is not true. They can be, but it's not diagnostic. It's not really a core trait at all. And that's usually disappointing because that many of the depictions, there's the sadistic side, but it's not necessarily true at all. And nor is the narcissism. But certainly the behavior of somebody with psychopathy and being so, this what's called in the PPI, not in the hair, but more in the, psychopathic personality inventory, which people can take. And in that, which is more for normal people to see if they have psychopathic traits, right? But also for categorization, just like Levinson and some of these other tests, that sense of fearless dominance appears like narcissism, but it's also somebody who's very powerful, and I think just the term is good because fearless dominant means I'm running you guys, I'm in control here. A lot of people love that. They want that in the president. They want that in a CEO. They want somebody in charge. It's going to, when the Hun comes, there's somebody that's going to get the Hun for him, and it's going to take charge and is very confident. And so those things that people might say are pathological, those like not narcissism, but narcissistic traits, they say, I hate people like that. But they'll end up voting for people who are narcissists. It's very odd because this has been published as under scientific rigor by a number of groups. Is there's all these people say I hate psychopaths, I hate narcissists. But if you look at who they vote for, that's exactly. I mean, Bill Clinton's a great example because he's so cute and I just love him. It's sweet talking, but he is like one of the top with more psychopathy and narcissism of any president ever. JFK was up there, Teddy Roosevelt, but people want to be conned. He's a lover boy. So a lot of, especially women, but also men fall for this. He's a nice guy. Well, do you think psychopaths are not nice guys? They are. That's how they get away with it. And so, so people are, the general public, a lot of them can be confused because they will completely fall in love with people with real narcissism and psychopathy because they're dreamy, and they're, he seems like a nice guy. Well, this is a warning signal to anybody. When you do that, and you start voting for somebody or you're supporting somebody, and it's almost like they're looking for somebody to be the most eligible bachelor or something. He's dreamy. I'd love to date him. And he wouldn't fight, he should be president or prime minister. You really want that as, But people do it. You see it and they'll explain it to you. These are mature people will say that. And, they're fools, obviously. And with somebody with a lot of, psychopathic traits, I know suckers a mile away. I know who can be manipulated because they have this sort of, they're enamored by these con artists that are, sweet talking prime ministers or presidents or anything. Whereas the ones that are really speak harshly, they don't like them. They'll go, well, has narcissism, because they don't like him. Because he's reminds them of the boy that wouldn't date them, or the boy that stole his girlfriend, or, he reminds them of somebody from earlier in their life. And so that's what they're doing. But they make the mistake of voting them in as, let's say, a president or prime minister or something. It's suicidal, but it happens constantly. And so that's why if you say, psychopaths must be all must be narcissistic, but it's not true. It's not, they don't necessarily have to, to manipulate, you don't have to be narcissistic to be a really dangerous, either, borderline psychopath or full-blown categorical psychopath. You don't have to have narcissism, but it helps for leadership, and so, and so it seems that way, but I wouldn't buy the premise.